this part is a little bit serious, and I don't really like, being serious on my channel. Like, I try to make this a kind of safe space, a place where you're allowed to just you're allowed to breathe, and you could be comfortable here. But I feel like I would like to address this. So I did watch the natlan trailer, and since I'm a channel that plays mostly genshin, something that I don't really like about genshin is that they would use so many cultures, and yeah, they represent the cultures in a really detailed and respectful way, I believe. And they represent those cultures like in a good way for the most part, as far as I know. Because, I can only speak so much on it as a person who doesn't really align with those cultures. Like, I don't come from those cultures. I can't help but notice that, for the playable characters, at least, they would use cultures with people with dark skin, but the characters that they make around those cultures don't have dark skin. Like, their skin is lighter than mine. It's weird, I don't really appreciate that, because they're taking from people's cultures but like not representing the people that are a part of those cultures. For example, Candace is actually based on a real person who has darker skin. But Candace doesn't even look like they're from the same culture, because the skin difference is so noticeable. Sino lives in the desert, but he's that light. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, him and Candace, they've lived all their lives in the desert, but they're that light skinned. Like, what are they doing? Like, they're in the oasis or something all the time? Like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you go out in Texas heat for 2 minutes, you're coming out a shade darker. And they're in Genshin's Egypt, so it doesn't really make any sense to me why they make the characters look the way they do. Except for, the obvious reason. And something else I forgot to mention. I understand that MiHoYo is a Chinese company, so honestly, it's actually pretty amazing that they were able to represent other cultures so well. And I understand that there are also people whose cultures align with the cultures that MiHoYo represented in Genshin. And some people are saying that they're okay with not having darker skin representation, because there's just a variety of skin colors when it comes to their culture. And honestly, yeah, like, that's so valid, and it's great that some people are okay with that. But that doesn't mean like all people are okay with it. It's just weird to me that the darker skinned people that they do have are enemies that you fight and are villainized in the game. I feel like if that aspect wasn't really in it, then I wouldn't be as annoyed by it. But it's like, narratively, it's kind of saying something that I don't really like. Like, you cannot be fine with how darker skinned people are represented in the game, but still like the game. You're allowed to like things and still not like certain things about it. You're allowed to have a three-dimensional view about stuff. Every single piece of media, you might love it with all your heart, love it so much, think it's like one of the best things ever, but there are certain aspects that you just don't fully agree with. But that doesn't mean that you hate the entirety of it. You just really critical about that one thing or multiple things. So that's just how I feel about Genshin. That even though I do love the game, it's just they have this issue that really bugs me. But I still appreciate the game for what it is. And I hope like in the video it doesn't really come off as me saying that like, this is a terrible game. I'm just saying that like everything, there are just certain things that bother me. And I'm not like saying this to stir up like controversy or anything. I'm just saying my stance on it, since people are already talking about it. So in case there's confusion, this is where I stand with it. Now, if you're one of my subscribers and you don't really care for like the whitewashing stuff, I'm not mad at you. Like, it's okay. That doesn't mean that I hate you or anything, or that you should hate me because I have a different stance. We can disagree on stuff and still have a good relationship. It's fine. Now, there are some other stuff that if we disagree on, we might not be right for each other. But I'm personally just saying, like, this is how I feel about the situation. You're allowed to disagree. But if you don't really agree with this, I understand because, you know, I can definitely see both sides. Like, some people are saying, I really like how they show the cultures, the skin color doesn't matter. And other people are like, the skin color does matter because it is the culture, and, you know, saying all that. You know, both sides are right, and maybe both sides are also wrong in a way. I'm just saying my stance on it. If you have opinions on it, I ask you to be respectful in the comments, because that's not the kind of community that I want, that I just tell you, you know, keep your opinions to yourself. Like, you're allowed to discuss things, but if you are going to discuss things, you need to do it in a respectful manner. You know, we're not going to be cussing people out just because they disagree, or they just don't see things the way that you do. You can be firm on what you believe in without disrespecting other people's opinions. So I ask for you guys to be respectful, all right? Because I feel that the way I expressed it, I was very respectful and understanding. So I expect my community to reflect that as well. And even if you're not a part of the community, you still need to reflect that, okay? You're coming on my channel, so so please be respectful, okay? It's like an uncomfortable topic that I don't really like noticing, but I can't help it but notice as a person who has brown skin. And with the natlan release of the new characters, it's really disappointing to see the lineup, because like the two characters that we got, their skin's not really brown. And something else I really don't like is that clearly they can make the character models dark skinned, but they only do that with the enemies that you have to fight. And they make the enemies like really dark. And it's like, what are you trying to say? Like, are you kind of villainizing people that have like really dark skin? Because like, why are the enemies darker than the playable characters? That doesn't make any sense. And you know, it's not really the first game to do something like this, but the thing that like makes it different from other games that do that is because they use the cultures from those people. So like, if you're going to use the cultures, you gotta like represent the people too. Like, you can't just whitewash them, you know, erase their skin color, because they are as important as they are to their region. So I don't know if I explained that in a way that like makes sense, but I just want to put it out there that I don't really like that. And the thing that it's like kind of like messed up about it is that like a lot of games do this. There are times when you really like something, but there are things you gotta like look over it. Like anime, you'll be watching an anime and you're like, man, I really like this show. This show is kind of nice. And then they have a weird sibling relationship thing going on in the background, and you're like, oh, I don't really like that, but okay. And then you just continue watching the show and that thing keeps happening, or you know, you see a panty shot and you're like, oh, that wasn't nice, I didn't like that. But like overall, you still like the show. For example, Jujutsu Kaisen, people love that show, they rave about that show, but there is a weird sibling relationship in the show, so you kind of have to like push that to the side so you can enjoy what else the show is giving you. And I feel like Genshin is the same way. Like, even though it is like a great game and, you know, great concept, great story for the most part, and, you know, fun combat and stuff like that, but they have these issues that need to be addressed. You know, I appreciate we live in a time where, for the most part, we can we can, you know, voice our issues with certain things in a free way. To be honest, guys, to be honest with you, I only really like the first 3 characters that they released. I think they would look really nice. But the other characters they released, they don't look like they're part of Genshin. They just don't. They don't look like they're in this game. It looked like Honkai and Genshin got the character design department just mixed up, and like they switched. Like, I'm just hoping for them to like re-release it. Because they literally don't look like Genshin characters. It's so weird. So I just want to put it out there. So one of my subscribers did bring it to my attention. For some reason, I can't find the actual post that they sent me, but they asked me to sign this petition, which I already did. But the petition is about requesting for MiHoYo to stop whitewashing characters. And if you're interested in that, I will link it down below. I guess you don't have to sign it. Like, I'm not gonna like be mad if you don't sign it, but I'm just showing you guys like where I am with the situation. because I really don't appreciate it. And I'm not really blaming like the whole company. Like I feel like maybe the people that designed the characters, I think they probably made like some dark skinned characters, but maybe the higher ups were like, turn the brightness up. Sorry, I got serious a little bit there. But it's just something that's really been bothering me because I think I kind of mentioned it on my channel before, but I never really vocally said how I felt about it. So I felt like I should put it out there. I will continue to play the game, but I won't be happy about it. All of us are invested in a story, aren't we? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you like not whitewashing characters, hit the like button, share, subscribe for more. I'm so sorry you got so serious. Like I feel so awkward now.